Now, Taliban's announcement of an all-male interim government is prompting reactions from all over the world. The move seems unlikely to win the international support. The new leaders desperately need to avoid an economic meltdown. The United States has raised concern over the formation of the new government in Afghanistan, consisting of the UN and US designated terrorists. However, it has claimed that it will judge the Taliban based on their actions. This includes letting Afghans leave the nation freely. The statement issued by the US Department signals a renewal of call on the Taliban to offer safe passage to US citizens as well as Afghans looking to leave. According to the United States, another big threat for the region and the world is China colluding with the Taliban. US President Joe Biden has said that he is sure now that China will try to work out some sort of an arrangement with the Taliban.
Well, China has a real problem with the Taliban, so they're going to try to work out some arrangement with Taliban, I'm sure, as does Pakistan, as does Russia, as does Iran. They're all trying to figure out what do they do now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Remember, Washington has blocked the Taliban's access to Afghanistan's reserves, most of which are held by New York Federal Reserve. This is in order to ensure that they live up to their commitments to respect women's rights and international law. But experts say that much of that economic leverage will be lost if Russia, China and other countries provide funds to the Taliban. Meanwhile, Turkey has given a guarded response on the Taliban government. President Erdogan has said that they are keeping a close watch on the future course of action. In his first comments, he said that he was unsure as to how long the government will last.
İşte az önce biliyorsunuz, yani buna kalıcı demek herhalde zor ama bir geçici kabine açıklandı. Bu geçici kabine nereye kadar devam eder onu da biz bilemeyiz. Bize düşen şu anda sadece bu süreci dikkatle takip etmektir.
And Turkish Foreign Minister also sounded a cautious note here, saying that the international community should not rush into recognizing the Taliban's legitimacy. At the United Nations, head of UN Women has raised concerns over the non-inclusive government. She said that the absence of women in the interim Afghan government calls into question, I'm quoting here, calls into question the recent commitments to protect the rights of Afghanistan's women and girls. She has lashed out at the Taliban leadership for sending the wrong signal to the world and not acting on their stated goal of building an inclusive, strong and prosperous society. Meanwhile, the United Nations has said that only an inclusive government can bring about peace in Afghanistan.
From our standpoint regarding today's announcement, only a negotiated and inclusive settlement will bring sustainable peace to Afghanistan. The United Nations remains committed to contribute to a peaceful solution, promote the human rights of all Afghans, notably women and girls, promote sustainable development in line with Agenda 2030, and provide life-saving humanitarian assistance and critical support to civilians in need.
And earlier we were joined by Lawrence Sellon, who's a retired U.S. Army colonel. He joined us from Montana, U.S. Let's listen into what he had to say.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. The Taliban should be judged by their actions, and so far their actions, it's not very promising for the women of Afghanistan. There are no women in this cabinet, as you correctly point out. Women have been attacked on the streets. They've already segregated education. It's not clear that women in the Taliban-controlled Afghanistan will have any education other than religious education. So the Taliban of today doesn't seem any different to me than the Taliban of 20 years ago. Well, I hope there will be international intervention. As you correctly note, that Pakistan is intervening in the fighting in the Panjshir Valley, including, I have heard, air support and bombings of civilians there. This is going to be a slaughter in the Panjshir unless the world community gets together and pushes back on this. I think the Taliban, there will be a Taliban resistance. We saw it in Panjshir. We're seeing it on the streets of Kabul. And I think the world community should do everything they can to support it.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.